And welcome live from Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. You're watching Newsroom Series. I'm Dominic Iwiwa, and today our focus will be on the southeast. But before we get into that, let's have a snippet of our top stories making rounds at the moment. Wives and family members of military officers detained for allegedly plotting a coup against the government of President Bola Tinubu are calling on authorities to either charge the officers to court or release them. The families made the appeal during a press briefing in Abuja, insisting that the prolonged detention of their husbands without trial is unjust. Flanked by human rights activists Omoyele Sowore and Deji Adeyonju, the families urged the president to prevail on the military hierarchy to ensure due process. They insist that if credible evidence exists against the detained officers, they should be formally charged and prosecuted in court.
For more than 5 months, our family have lived with uncertainty, fear, and unanswered questions. Today, we are here for one simple reason: to ask the justice to be done openly in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These past months have been deeply painful for our families. We have watched helplessly as narratives are presented to the public, subjecting our husbands to trial by media. At the same time, some of us have faced intimidation from the very men in uniform sworn to protect Nigerians. Our husbands and fathers have served this country faithfully on the front lines, risking their lives in defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Today, their families are left with fear, uncertainty, and unanswered questions. A respectful appeal to our leaders. We speak today with no anger, but with heavy hearts of wives and children and mothers. We appeal to Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a father and a grandfather, to Her Excellency, the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, a mother, grandmother, and a revered pastor, as leaders of the nation at this moment in time, to please look upon our situation, compassion, wisdom, courage, and justice. We respectfully beseech to examine and be receptive to all the facts of this highly sensitive case with an open mind, please. We ask only for what the 1999 Constitution guarantees every Nigerian, that our husband to be treated as innocent until proven guilty by a competent court of law. The allegation against them must not be used as tool or scapegoat. We want due process, nothing more and nothing less. To the Nigerian military, to the men and women of the Nigerian military, we are not your enemies. We are wives, mothers, children, and we struggle to understand how the same institution our husbands serve with dedication has now become the source of deepest pain. We respectfully ask for compassion, transparency. Grant us access to our husbands. Let us see them and know how they are safe and alive.
Well, troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai say they have successfully repelled coordinated terrorist attacks on military locations in Konduga, Mate, Jakan, and Mainok in Borno State. The attacks, which began around 10:30 p.m. and lasted until about 3 a.m., were met with strong resistance from troops who held their defensive positions despite the intensity of the assault. According to the military, troops responded with well-coordinated counter-offensives, forcing the terrorists into disorganized retreat after their attempts to overrun the military formations failed. During the fierce engagements, several insurgent fighters were neutralized, including some key commanders and amirs believed to be leading the coordinated assault. The military also reveals that although part of its facilities were damaged during the offensive, all affected bases remain under its control. The air component of the operation also provided multiple precision airstrikes on fleeing terrorist elements and hostile positions. However, the military confirmed that some gallant soldiers paid the ultimate sacrifice during the battle, including a courageous officer who led his men from the front. To legal issues now, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has granted bail to former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, his son Abdulaziz Malami, and his wife, Asabe Bashir, in the sum of 200 million naira each. The court also ordered that each defendant must provide 2 sureties in a like sum as part of the bail conditions. The court further ruled that one of the sureties must deposit title deeds of landed property located in highbrow districts of Maitama or Asokoro. In addition, the defendants were directed to surrender their international passports to the court pending the conclusion of the trial. Justice Joyce Abdul Malik also ordered that the defendants remain in the custody of the Nigerian Correctional Service until they meet the bail conditions. The trio were arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and the case has been adjourned until March 16th for the commencement of trial proceedings. We start off in Ebonyi State, where the state's government has distributed relief materials worth 70 million naira to victims of Okporojo killings. If you recall, on January 29, 2026, Okporojo in Osoeda in Eda local government area was allegedly attacked by suspected warlords from Amasiri in Afikpo local government area. The attack claimed 4 lives with their heads severed, several homes destroyed, and dozens of residents displaced. This intervention from the state government is aimed at supporting displaced families, rebuilding damaged homes, and restoring peace in the affected area.
Victims of the Okporojo killings in Eda local government area of Ebonyi State gather at the old government house in Abakaliki to receive relief materials and financial support to cushion the impact of the attack allegedly carried out by Amasiri warlords earlier this year.
I plead that we may rise up to honor the 4 families that lost their lives.
A minute's silence is observed in honor of those who lost their lives during the tragic incident.
You have shown that you have love, not only for the Z nation, but for the entire nation as well. We are happy, and at all times we will always listen to government and comply with government directive. We are known for our peaceful nature. God in heaven will bear us witness. The people of Okporojo, they've always been there, and they are the ones being attacked.
The State Commissioner for Human Capital Development and Monitoring, Anne Aligwe, explains that the state government approved 70 million naira to support the 57 victims affected by the attack. Additionally, families of the 4 victims who lost their lives will receive 2 million naira each, alongside building materials and other household essentials.
4 persons died during this crisis, and those 4 families, their next of kin will be receiving 2 million naira each. Accompanying the 2 million naira will be 5 bundles of zinc, 5 cartons of nails, 5 packets of the rubbers for the zinc roofing, then rice, foam, and wrappers.
Governor Francis Nwifuru, represented by the Speaker of the Ebonyi State House of Assembly, Moses Ije Odungwa, says the state government intervened swiftly to prevent further humanitarian hardship. He urges the communities to live in peace and unity, stressing that disputes over land are not worth the loss of lives.
Whatever thing that has been done should be taken as all precautionary measures the leader has to do to instill peace in his domain. And to date, we thank God that the situation is coming down to normal, and you people around here will also help him to achieve the total peace and love.
One of the beneficiaries, speaking on behalf of others, describes the intervention as a lifeline for families struggling to recover from the aftermath of the conflict.
We thank God for the intervention of the government. Actually, Governor has wiped away my tears. Governor has sued me
I wish
Governor have comforted
to subscribe.
Meanwhile, the Ebonyi state government has constituted a 19-member committee to carry out the demarcation of the disputed boundary between Okporojo and Amasiri communities.
Staying in Ebonyi State, the state government has ordered the destruction of all shrines and deities in the Amasiri community, Afikpo local government area, over its complicity in the violent conflict. Governor Wifuru gave the demolition order today after an enlarged state security meeting yesterday. The meeting discussed major security issues, including reports that Amasiri was recently involved in a renewed land dispute with neighboring Okorojo in the Osa community in Eda local government area. Governor Wifuru had imposed sanctions on Amasiri, which included the sacking of its political appointees, the dethronement of its traditional rulers, the placement of a curfew, and the closure of schools, among others. Elsewhere in Ebonyi State, the abducted traditional ruler of the Ndufu Alike community in the Ikwo local government area of Ebonyi State, Eze Ogo Francis Igwe, has been killed by his kidnappers. He was reportedly kidnapped on Sunday, March 1, 2026 by suspected gunmen while on his way to church at Ndufu Alike community. In a statement released on Friday by the police spokesperson in Ebonyi State, SP Joshua Okandu, confirmed that the abducted monarch was killed on March 2, 2026 by his abductors. According to the statement, following the kidnapping of His Royal Highness Eze Francis Igwe on 1st March 2026, operatives of the Ebonyi State Command immediately commenced intensive operations aimed at rescuing the kidnapped monarch. In the course of the operations, operatives arrested 2 suspects identified as members of the kidnapping syndicate. The suspects confessed that the monarch had been killed on 2nd March 2026. They further volunteered to lead operatives to their hideout and assist in the recovery of the remains of the monarch. 7 additional suspects were arrested and 1 locally made pistol was recovered from the suspects. All suspects are currently in police custody and efforts are ongoing to apprehend the fleeing members of the gang. They will be charged to court upon the conclusion of investigations. The Federal Character Commission, FCC, says it will no longer be business as usual as the Commission reiterates its commitment to ensuring equity and fairness in employment opportunities and the distribution of infrastructural facilities in line with the Federal Character Principle. The Commissioner, representing Imo State on the board of the Commission, made the remark during a visit to the FCC field office in the state, noting that previous irregularities associated with job racketeering would not be tolerated under the current leadership. He further explained that the Commission is introducing a technology-driven approach to its operations, including electronic working systems, to enhance transparency and efficiency. He added that the reforms reflect the direction of the new leadership of the Commission, which is focused on strengthening fairness and accountability while ensuring that socio-economic benefits and infrastructural facilities are equitably distributed across all states, local governments, and federal ministries, departments, and agencies.
Job racketeering before, not going to happen again. And there must be what you may call technological approach to things like e-working operations in the FCC now. And that's exactly what you are saying. The totality of what you said, that a new sheriff has come to take over FCC. And that new sheriffs were experienced. She's very hardworking, and she's also very resourceful. We're sure that there's what we call equity and fairness in the operations as far as employment is concerned. The infrastructural facilities, as enshrined in the Federal Character Principle, must be extended to all the state regions and even local governments. That's the approach we want to adopt now.
You're watching Newsroom Series live on Channels Television. Right after this break, we'll take you to Anambra State where there's an energy stakeholders engagement. Stay with us. Welcome back. A conversation to design solutions that will enhance gas to power opportunities in Anambra State has commenced in an energy stakeholders engagement forum jointly organized by Anambra State government and Shell Nigeria Gas Limited in Awka, the Anambra State's capital. The focus is on exploring gas power opportunities aiming to boost industrial growth and energy reliability. The Secretary to the State's government, Professor Solo Chukwulubelu, who, aside from representing Governor Chukwuma Soludo, presents the keynote address on the topic, Industrialization in Anambra State, Realities, Challenges and Opportunities, highlights that Anambra State possesses key ingredients for industrial growth.
Gas is a big deal for Anambra State's industrial growth, and with significant reserves, partnerships with major players in the oil and gas sector is likely to boost energy reliability and reduce costs. That's the crux behind this Energy Stakeholders Engagement Forum, jointly organized by the Anambra State government and Shell Energy Gas Limited in Awka, the state capital. In his overview of opportunities at hand, the Managing Director of Shell Nigeria Gas, Mr. Ralph Bobo, gives more details of the partnership with the Anambra State Governor to boost industrial growth by reducing diesel dependence through virtual gas solutions and scalable power markets.
For many businesses represented here, the transition to gas is not merely a technical operation, it's a strategic necessity. You face real cost pressures. You need reliable power. You aim to be more competitive, locally, nationally, and globally. Our focus today is to demonstrate in practical and measurable terms how natural gas can support your growth and strengthen your operation.
At the center of this partnership is the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Chairman of the Southeast Zone, Mrs. Adora Chukwudozie, describes the transition from diesel to gas energy as a strategic step towards sustainable industrial growth.
Energy remains one of the most critical determinants of industrial competitiveness. For many manufacturers, the cost and reliability of power directly determine whether factories expand, stagnate, or shut down. The transition from diesel dependence to gas-based energy, therefore, represents not just a technical shift, but a strategic pathway toward sustainable industrial growth.
Bringing it home in his keynote address, the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, highlights the strengths and challenges of its industrialization efforts, which requires intentionality to surmount.
Industrialization is not a one-time project. It is not even a two-term project or a three-term project. It is a generational mission. It requires consistency beyond political cycles. It demands collaboration across ministries, agencies, the private sector, academia, and development partners. Anambra has the spirit, we have the talent, we have the ambition. What we must now consolidate is coordination, infrastructure, and strategic execution.
It's all part of the Anambra State government's drive to use industrialization to regain its full potential of a prosperous homeland.
This is one of our efforts towards industrialization. So the gas is at the center of industrialization, and power actually is in the center of industrialization. And the most efficient and cheaper way to for energy generation now is gas. I'm partnering with Shell to actually ensure that every issue around power is resolved.
With this partnership, Anambra State government reaffirms its commitment to providing reliable, affordable and clean energy supply as part of its efforts to strengthen industrial development, support manufacturers across the state and improve the lives of citizens.
The administration of Governor Alex Otti in Abia State has created a strategic forum to strengthen collaboration between government and the organized private sector by hosting a business roundtable meeting with business owners. Speaking during the Business Roundtable Summit at the International Conference Center, Umuahia, Governor Otti said his administration is determined to play a leading role in rebuilding the state's economic foundations aimed at attracting private investment and restoring business confidence.
Business operators across Nigeria gather in Umuahia, the Abia state capital, to brainstorm and prefer solutions to challenges facing businesses. Industry leaders, development partners, financial institutions, and other stakeholders joined the roundtable event with the theme Government Meets Business, where vision meets enterprise. In her goodwill message, the former Nigerian ambassador to Singapore, Noye Rajis Opara, lauds Governor Alex Otti's credibility and leadership as she reaffirms her commitment to leveraging international networks to attract investors to Abia State, particularly in mechanized agriculture and agro-processing.
Whatever we can do, linkages and relationships we have outside Nigeria, to see how we can bring them to Abia. And that is why we're here to bring investors, to partner with investors, to partner with Abia to do business. One of the best areas that we probably can engage in Abia is the area of agriculture. And we can take that. We're not looking to export anything from outside. So we're here to support Abia and support this administration to see how we can leverage on mechanized agriculture and processing of most of our raw materials in Nigeria.
It's also an opportunity for the Abia state government to remind investors that the state is ready for business.
These developments are not only improving the quality of life for our people, but are also positioning Abia State as the best destination for investment in Nigeria. The governor's bold reforms and dedication to economic growth have sent a clear message to investors across the country and beyond. Abia is open for business.
Abia State's governor, Mr. Otti, builds on this. He tells the gathering that on assumption of office, his administration identified poor road infrastructure, insecurity, unreliable power supply, and multiple taxation as major constraints to private sector participation, and subsequently prioritized rebuilding business confidence.
We observed from a simple study that the only way to restore hope to the business ecosystem, especially in Abia, was to rebuild the Godas road network, to reopen the path to the factories, reconnect communities, and return customers to markets. In our worldview, people did not pack their bags to leave because the roads were bad. They shut down their factories and sold their homes to start afresh in other places for the simple reason that hope disappeared from the horizon.
The Abia Business Roundtable 2026 also featured breakout sessions focused on key sectors of the state's economic transformation, as well as a question and answer session with Governor Otti.
And that's where we drop the anchor on this edition of Newsroom Series. I'm Dominic Iwiwu. Enjoy the rest of your day.